nonetheless, there are plenty of mitzvahs and opportune times, etc.
The rabbi is ready to give the class.
Okay, Likutei Torah A, page Yutes, second column. Pasuk says, "Achar Hashem Elokechem telechu." You should go after Hashem. V'yisisiro. You should fear Him. And then the pasuk continues, "V'yisisidbotku, v'yisishmo," and so on. So he says, "Parat hakasav shisha dvarim avodas Hashem." The pasuk says you should go after Hashem in 6 things. It says, "Telechu, tiro, tishmeru, v'kelis ishmo, v'eisi savedu, v'eisi botku." Meaning you should go, fear, guard, listen, serve Him, and cling to Him. Those are the 6 things the pasuk says. Inei maksiv lil minei. What does it say before that? Kimenas Hashem Elokechem eschem ladas. Hashem in the pasuk in this week's Parsha Re'eh. The pasuk earlier says Hashem is testing you to know do you fear Hashem or not. That's the simple meaning of the pasuk. Kimenas Hashem Elokechem eschem ladas hayishchem hayavim es Hashem. Hashem is testing you. So he says, what do you mean Hashem test? Test, by definitely, I give you a test to see if you know it or you don't know it. Right? If I know what you're going to get, why do I have to give you a test? I mean, even though if you're a good teacher, you know exactly what every kid's going to get on the test. But it's for the kids. But over here, Hashem says, I'm testing you to know if you fear me or not. Don't you think Hashem knows if you fear Him or not? The neshama before coming in this world, was in a very lofty place. The pasuk says, Chai Hashem, Asher Amadati lefonav, that I stood, the neshama stood before Hashem, the shaman in that higher world. He is brought with the total revelation of Elokus. And then the neshama comes into the body. In this low world. To be a place which is a total concealment from Hashem. Again, like all to my mark. It comes from a very lofty place and it comes down to a very concealed place. What's the purpose of this descent? Bishvil anisyain is to have challenges. The whole Inyan is to have nisyonis, sheboin la'adam, which come to the person that Hashem gives us, shemehest upon him, which is a concealment of Hashem's face, v'istalkus chayes hashafa, and a removal of the sustenance from Hashem openly, b'niyah b'reyes aguf, whether it's b'niyas b'reyes aguf, whether it's lack of health or money or kedei lahastir al v'chayis Hashem gedushas yizbarach, which is there to conceal the revelation of godliness. You think like, where's God? Whatever, He's cruel, whatever. To be blockages, internal, external, which a person is coming to become closer to Hashem. And then he gets all these tests. So in other words, like this, there's a concept of nisyonis. So every day in davening, in brachas, we say, Al t'viyein l'idei nisoy. We ask Hashem, don't give us any tests. Because tests are very difficult. Challenges are very difficult. Nevertheless, it says Hashem does give us challenges. That means He gives us the ability to overcome the challenges. The Medrash says about David HaMelech, that he kept asking Hashem, no, test me, test me, test me. Hashem kept telling him, no, no, no. What do you want to test for? Finally, Hashem said, you know what? Okay, I'm going to give you a test and you're going to fail. Hashem didn't tell him. It was the story about Sheva, and on his level, he didn't do an Aveda, the mercy, but he failed. Why? Because you don't ask for tests. If Hashem gives a person a test, so then the Gemara says, Chassidus says, Hashem gives you the ability automatically to overcome the test. If not, He wouldn't give you the test. And therefore He said, because the ways of wicked are very successful. So the tests are very difficult, because it's easier to be bad and you see that they're successful. You cheat, you lie, you swindle, and they're very successful. So the person should come to that thing. V'zeu bo'ois v'ameifes leimer nelcha. Kum leimer. Shesham gilui ha'ois v'ameifes. V'agbodas karnim v'agdols v'li b'achayis. Over there, Hashem puts the success of the test in a way. L'chein em yadeinu dafka rama. They say yadeinu, as the pasuk says, yadeinu asa kol zeis. Keichi v'yitzim yadi asi l'yisachayil hazeh. O magbia kenesh kainam, and they elevate themselves like eagle, meaning they think they're better than everybody else. B'tzarech ha'adam, that's the concept of the test. B'tzarech ha'adam is gabris yisera. They need a super strong power. Lamed ben Nisayin to stand up to the test. That he shouldn't have any complications, no difficulties. This is the reason why a person is given tests. She is gaber aleim, to be victorious over them. That through this you come to the level of das. In other words, the simple meaning of the pasuk is Ki menasa Hashem elokeichem eschem. Hashem is testing you, ladas, to know hayishchem evim es Hashem. Do you love Hashem or not? Here the Alter Rebbe is explaining no. Ki menasa Hashem elokeichem eschem. Hashem is testing you. Why? Ladas, you should come to the level of das, feeling godliness. In other words, the test elevates and exalts the person to the level that he can actually feel elokus, das. So it's not ladas that Hashem should know. Hashem knows. Ladas, we should come to the level of das. Like we learned many times, the root of Nisayin is this nun samach, right? Nun samach means nes, miracle. It means Nisayin, it means a test. And as we say in Shmones, the son nes, the kabi is goli yiseno, nes is a banner. Even in Hebrew, flying is the word tus. Because nes, we say in davening, the son nes, the kabi is goli yiseno, Hashem should fly a banner. So these three words are all the same nun samach. So Chassidus explains what's the connection between all these three. Through the level of a nisayin, a person having a test, they reach the level of nes, banner, they reach a lofty level, and through that you reveal nes, the level of miracle, the supernatural level of elokus in the world. So it's actually three parts of one Avodah. You're given a challenge to overcome the challenge, and you're given the courage to overcome the challenge. Then you come to fly high, because you reached Ladas, and then through that you're Megilui of Elokus higher than the world. Supernatural level of Elokus in the world.
The person comes to pass during the test or after you pass the test?
By passing the test.
Failing also, no?
Huh?
Failing the test also unites that.
The purpose of failing a test is only to allow the person to come to a level of tshuva, which is even a higher level. But that's only, we don't plan, what do they say? We don't plan to fail, we fail to plan. Right? We don't plan to fail. The pshat is the person shouldn't, why did the Eibishter allow a person to fail? Hashem obviously allows the person to fail. Just like Hashem allows a person to sin. Bottom line is, if a person, chas v'sholom, eats treif, okay, so they didn't have Aveda. Now, did Hashem allow them to sin? 100%. Because if Hashem didn't allow them to sin, they wouldn't be able to chew, they wouldn't be able to open up their mouth, they wouldn't be able to put the food in their mouth. I mean, they wouldn't, Hashem could, if you think about it, Hashem, if he wanted to, if a person wants to eat treif, Hashem should paralyze the person and he wouldn't be able to eat it. And then when the taiva falls off, he'll unparalyze him. I mean, Hashem could have done it, right? He could do like a robot. You program him that if you want to go against the will of Hashem, you're not able to. And Hashem doesn't do that. He gives us bechira in this week's party. Okay, Hashem gives us bechira. Why does Hashem, bottom line, allow us, after the fact, to sin? Because Hashem wants, after the fact, that we should do tshuva. And the test is the same thing. The choice is to pass or to fail. Now, a person could pass and they choose to fail, that's not a good thing. Maybe a person can't pass the test because of their mental ability, they're not smart enough to pass the test, is one thing. If a person's brilliant and he chooses to fail the test, that's... Now, every person, when it comes to tests that Hashem gives us, has the ability to pass the test. If not, Hashem wouldn't give it to us.
Regular Am Haaretz, when they fail a test, they give up. They don't know this knowledge. They don't know that you come to that.
Not everybody gives up. What's the expression in English? If you don't succeed, try again. Not trying, according to Chassidus, is a cop-out from the Yetzer Hara. That's what the Rebbe says, countless answers, sichos, maimorim. A person says, okay, I failed, I can't. Where's that coming from? Kedusha? It's not coming from Kedusha. It's coming from the Yetzer Hara telling the person, you see, you can't do it, so forget it, give up. That's the reality. It's not coming from anywhere of Kedusha. To give up.
Studying and talking about it is easy. God forbid somebody goes through the test. It's a different story.
Everything in life is easier said than done. Yeah. But if it would be easier done than said, then good would be totally worthless. The only value of good is that we have a choice to do no good. And the more the no good is, the stronger the no good is, the stronger the person's test is, the ability and koyach to overcome the test, and the greater the light. The greater the darkness, the greater the light.
How does a person see godliness and purpose during the test and not just after the test?
During the test, you don't see godliness. If you see godliness, it's not a test. If you see alukus, it's not a test. You don't see alukus, that's the test. The test is, like you said, what him called? Hester upon him. And he hasted, asked upon him, he came by him, the pasuk says. Not only hasted, double hasted.
During the test, the only benefit you have is your emunah.
Huh?
The only thing you have is your emunah.
You don't have to necessarily be amunah. You can have a drive to do good. People can have in business, you could have a person who fails, but he has a drive to overcome it. It's not necessarily amunah. Amunah definitely helps, because the Eibishter is doing this for a reason, and it's only going to be good. Okay? So he says, B'shvil kach. Okay, no, I'm saying. Okay, 4 lines to the end of the page. Kedei shahidei, kein yovel l'mayla madrei sodas. Hainu, which means, sheyayetz le'bechinas das v'asoga v'argosha b'yizborich. It should be not only understanding, we learned, Chochmah and Bina is understanding. Das is not understanding, that's Bina. Das is feeling, becoming one with the thing you learn, that like it's Adam Yados Chaval, it's Kashiv says Chabros, that you mamish become one. That's Das. Because, in other words, there's something between knowing right and wrong, or feeling what's right and wrong. Through the tests, you reach a level of elokus, because you overcame the challenges, that you actually feel elokus. And he says, this is understanding the part of Nasa Eschem Ladas. Okay, he says, okay, we'll just learn part of this paragraph, parentheses, I don't know if I down it goes. But he says, the ain't Pirish HaPasik, top of 38, Hayeshchem HaShakush Baruch Hu Yodea. It's not that, there's no way of saying that the purpose of the test, like we said before, is that Hashem should understand. No. The author and he knows we knows what the person's gonna pick. Okay? Okay, so skip until the Hainu. So he says, obviously, there's no concept. It's Epicurus, by the way, to think Hashem needs to give us a test that he should know whether we believe in him or not, whether we fear him or not. It's not for him, it's for us. The purpose of a test is, or even lahavdil, like we said before, a good teacher. I'm not talking about a professor that speaks to 500 kids, he doesn't know anybody. It's like a teacher in a classroom that knows the kids. A proper teacher, a good teacher, will tell you before the test what everybody's going to get on the test. So what's the purpose of the test? That the kids not only should study, it's not only that, because when you study for a test, the second you crash it, so the second the test's over, you forget it. That's basically what happens. So the purpose of a test is to people to realize I need to understand the material and learn it.
And then the Holocaust was a test?
Very big test. Very big test. But the test of Ashirus is a bigger test. That's what the Rebbe writes in Atat 7, no? There's Mesiras Nefesh of like you said, in Russia, yeah?
Complacency.
No, the more difficult test is complacency. So yeah, the Holocaust is a very big test.
Seemingly,
Huh?
we didn't pass the test. I mean, most Jews stopped being religious.
Most Jews were killed.
Because of the Holocaust.
No, a lot of Jews became religious. It's Hashem's business. You can't judge anybody why they fail a test. Al tanus chavercha, right? That shetagil l'mkaymer. Al tidon yechidi, we learn Shabbos and Pegos. Al tidon yechidi. You can't judge anybody. Only the Eibishter could judge.
I'm just saying maybe that was a very big test, too big of a test.
I said the Holocaust was a super difficult test. The Hainuk, what does it mean? Okay. Not allowed to go over time. About Taisir. Don't worry, it's a fluke.